What is frotteurism? Frotturism is the act of touching or rubbing your genitals against a non-consenting individual for sexual pleasure. Before I get too far into this, I want to say that there is no cure for mental illness. Also, most people have never heard of the term paraphilia. So, in my opinion, the psychiatric field is finding legal avenues to make some of the terms we're about to discuss a norm by law, to clear their board, so to speak. And others are widely accepted through suggestibility. And if it catches enough attention, it becomes a social construct. What I want to say about suggestibility, also, that is packaged in your memes, your posts, things like that. Also, the social construct is it becomes reality because of human interaction. Basically, it's a law through society without actually being on the books, right? So in this video, I'm going to show how seeds are being planted to eventually make some paraphilic behavior acceptable by society. And in the past, same-sex couples were very taboo. Now it's widely accepted. And this is what I mean. So without further ado, let's get into it. Paraphilias are sexual interests in objects, situations, or individuals that are atypical. After reading most of the terms on this list, I came to the conclusion that the LGBTQIA2 plus thing, right, came directly from this list. Remember, since there is no cure for mental illness, I truly believe that a lot of disorders are made acceptable due to the fact there is no way to treat that mental illness. I hope that makes sense. I could have chosen, or I could have settled on any one of these disorders to do the story over, but I chose frotturism because recently there was a court case that used this disorder as a defense, and we'll get into that soon. Now, this is a list of paraphilias. There are over 547 terms that describe these paraphilic sexual interests, but I'm going to scroll down to the F's. All these terms here you see or something or focuses of erotic interest for someone is what I'm trying to say, right? So if we go to the F's, you go down to the bottom, is rubbing against a non-consenting person. But it's rubbing your genitals or your hands against non-consenting people. That's pretty much what frotturism is. If you go to the top and you just start at the top of the F's, fat fetishism. Now, mind you, these are all focuses of erotic interest. So all these things you see here, someone gets off on them, so to speak. From feet, being crawled on by insects, right? Turning a human being into a piece of furniture. All these things get people off, right? Now, what happens when you start mixing these things together and murk the water up? And then you take these things to court that are accepted disorders. Do you see how people can start to get off from very heinous crimes just by calling it a disorder? Right? So let's move forward. This is former Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Remember those seeds I was talking about being planted earlier in the video? She definitely planted a lot of them. She is one of the matriarchs of the feminist movement, and one of her biggest claims to fame, if that's what you really want to call it, she wanted to move the age of sexual consent to 12 years old. Now, this is a clip from an older video I made like in 2023 speaking about this very thing. Trust me, all of this is relevant. Check this out.
And now here's where we get to what Ginsburg's beliefs for age of consent should be, and why I firmly believe she opened the door for SB 145. I have been saying this to you guys for a couple of years now. The end game is to abolish the age of consent, destroy the family unit, and take away the one last thing keeping just a little bit of innocence in America, our children. And then take away our legal ability to protect them from predators.
And just like I said earlier in this clip, the psychiatric field is trying to find legal avenues to make this acceptable to society.
And I'm pretty sure God will show his anger when this day does actually come. Ginsburg's book stated the age of consent for sexual acts must be lowered to 12 years old. And I want everyone to notice here, she used the word must. She doesn't even use the word should. That should tell you what kind of psycho she really was.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but this seems like this is the reason why they wanted men to go into the bathroom with women, with your daughters all of a sudden. It was to desensitize society to pedophilic and paraphilic disorders and behaviors. Here is another attempt to desensitize society to these behaviors. Even though he didn't get off, someone will soon. Check this out.
Have you guys ever heard of Frotturism? Well, neither have I, and Walworth County DA James Semp says it's the first time he's heard of it in his 21 years as a prosecutor. Today we learned why a doctor says this rare disorder may help explain John Rash's serial child sexual abuse.
You could have been a great teacher, but you are a monster.
It's been 20 years since this woman says John Rash touched her during a music lesson.
After what you did, I could never pick up a French horn again without feeling your breath on my face and in your hand between my legs.
At least 15 women have now accused Rash of sexual touching back when they were students in his East Troy Middle School band class.
This is the behavior of a serial sex offender.
Walworth County DA James Semp says the defense team's own doctor diagnosed Rash with a rare disorder known as Frotturism, where a person gets, quote, intense sexual arousal from touching a non-consenting person.
He focused on the thrill he got from the behavior, the jolt of adrenaline.
You're a man with two faces.
Judge Daniel Johnson said Rash appears to be a devoted family man, but also
Someone who gets an adrenaline rush out of touching little girls' breasts.
I would like to express my deepest remorse for my actions.
after years of denials, Rash offered an apology.
I have let everyone in my life down. My students, their families, my school and community, my friends and family, and my wife and 3 daughters. I'm so sorry.
Judge Daniels sentenced Rash to 12 years in prison plus 10 years of extended supervision. He will also be required to register as a sex offender for life. Ben and Kim.
In this case, I believe we had a judge that understood reality. But soon we're going to have a judge on the bench that's going to try a case like this, that's going to be more DI, more forgiving about these type of things. And as soon as someone gets off, it's going to become a case study for someone else. And at that point, it's just going to snowball down the hill and all pedophiles get off due to frotturism and other paraphilic disorders.